Hi everyone, this is Paul Fouché, Chief Investment Officer at New Road Capital, just giving you your June market update. So a bit of a mixed month for equity markets. You had offshore doing a little bit better than local, but still all markets pretty much down for the month slightly, so a bit of a consolidation month. So you had the local all share down about 3.7%. You had the MSCI World, which is your developed markets, down about 0.7%, and then emerging markets down about 1.4%. So a little bit of a sell-off month, but nothing to worry about. We think a consolidation, particularly after quite a nice equity run that we've had in the markets. Probably tied to the inflation numbers. So if you look at inflation in the US, inflation now sitting at 4.8% in the US. So that's quite significantly above its 2% target. But if you look at core inflation, it's sitting at 2.9%. So almost 2 percentage points lower than the overall inflation rate. And that is because the core inflation does not include food and energy prices. So obviously a big part of that 4.8% print is actually just the oil price. And obviously that's backward looking, and we've already seen the oil price turning around quite significantly and currently sitting in the Brent crude currently sitting in the low $70 per barrel, which is actually at the same level it was just before the US went into Iran. So if you think about it, that whole up move and down move has completely been wiped out now, and oil pretty much sitting where it was. We suspect you'll probably see oil coming down over time, as I've mentioned in previous updates. And we think, those deflationary forces will actually come through into the new numbers. So although inflation's looking kind of high on a once-off print, we think still very much we're in a deflationary environment, and we'll see those numbers starting to come down. So we're quite bullish on the numbers and where we see the oil price at the moment. Food and energy also come off quite significantly over the last month. Well, as I say, food as well, coming off quite significantly over the last month. So tying into South African inflation. So overall headline inflation sitting at 4.5%, and then core inflation sitting at 3.8%. Same thing, slightly raised numbers, but because of the oil price, and you'll start to see that actually come off, going forward, over the next few prints. If we look at the Rand dollar, so a little bit of a risk-off month always translates into a slightly weaker Rand. So if we looked at the Rand, it started the month at around about 16.25-ish and ended the month at about 16.39. So fairly flat, quite volatile through the month, but slightly weaker month for the Rand, which, always helps our offshore holdings. Funds are priced in Rands. If we look at the SA-US 10-year bond spread, still looking very attractive, north of 4%. You're getting on an extra yield in South Africa. And actually, again, you look at local bonds actually having a really good month. And, we've liked local bonds for a while. We still like them. The Albi, that's the local bond market, returning positive 1.5% for the month. But bonds still looking very attractive on the spread. And then offshore bonds, the US, so G7, down for the month, 0.6%, but US long-term bonds, which is the part of the market that we really like, sitting at positive 1.2%. So you can actually see, so bonds rallying, even though you saw the inflation prints up, and that's because the market's expecting, obviously, inflation to come down because of the oil price. So all in all, a bit of a consolidation month, but if you look at our funds still performing relatively well for the month. We're still happy with things where things are sitting. We think inflation's under control. We think actually quite a bullish kind of underpin there, and it's really fed into our treasury holdings and our bond holdings as well, which help the portfolios do quite hold up fairly well during the month. So all in all, quite a month compared to some of the months we've seen over the last few months. But we're happy with where the portfolios are. Their performance has been exceptionally good over the last while. I'm very happy, and we continue to watch the markets, but haven't made too many changes in this last month. As always, if you need anything, don't hesitate to speak to me or the team. And otherwise, I will chat to you in August for your July market update. All the best. Bye.